Alright guys, welcome back to painting Zombicide figures with Jason, engineering scale models. So we have our wolf. It's not, the best, but it's tabletop quality. I'm going to leave the bases blue because I like to be able to identify them pretty easy, even though they are wolves. So that's that. I got some later stages done of some guys here. I just got to paint in the blood work on it. So I have some in the next stage. Now this is the contrast paint. This is the snakebite leather from Citadel Contrast. I diluted it heavily for the body, and then I left it solid, straight out of the pot for the tail and this fur on top. So I am going to continue with a different technique on one of these guys. So I want to take this gray maned one here. I'm going to put him on my base here. I want to take this one with the brown mane, and I want to use some non-oil. So I'm going to try some of this on there. See if it allows me to retain more of that blue color, because I like that blue color on the wolves, that bluish gray. I like that bluish gray. I also like the brown, and they can all be different. It's not they all don't have to be uniformed. So we're just gonna try some of this non-oil here. Let's see what kind of finish that gets us. If we like it better than the gray, or the brown, I'm sorry, the contrast brown. So alright, so there's that guy. We're gonna let that guy sit aside. I'm going to let him dry and see what happens. See what he looks like in a little bit. Paint some red on him and see if he looks better than one of the brown wolves or things like that. Now let's get back to now the goblins. This is with a green shade from. This is the green shade. Got a little bit of a green, and then this is the green contrast, and I like the green contrast better. So I like the green contrast better. So I think I'm going to paint these guys up with the contrast paints. Currently I'm doing the red and green so far, and I'm going to put a little bit of a bronze color. I have warp bronze, and then I have Balasar gold. I'm probably going to use the Balasar gold. I also have Screaming Bell. I might use that. Alright, so this looks like a good color. So let me get my headlamp on here so I can see. And I'm going to use a Vallejo P54 Torre just to try it out. I haven't tried this brush yet. just going to thin it down with some water. paint his armor on his leg here. So okay. Painted buckle. Get this armor pleating up here. Try not to put my hand in this paint. It's pretty close to it. So, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of the painting, but you know, I'll take a break for a little bit, so I'm going to do some painting here. Still got games going on, still got some modeling going on. I got an interesting video I'll be working on soon with some dental molding, some silicone molding, and some plastic molding to make copies and fixtures for parts. And also use it to make copies of broken parts if you need to. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. This whole bracer here. So all these look good on the tabletop. That's all I'm going for. You know, 3 or 4 colors. Nothing too crazy. Spot gets missed, that's okay. So we're gonna paint his belt and his straps brown, and I need to touch up some of the red, and I need to touch up some of the green. So he's got like earrings in his ear. Alright, so we got that. We will paint a little bit of brown on him. We will paint, I want to do Rhinox hide, or Rhinox hide is the way we're going to go. Much. I'm not doing batch painting. Just painting up some test models different ways just to see what they'll look like. Alright. paint's probably a little too thick. I think it'll be alright. Honestly thinking about trying doing the whole thing with contrast on the next one. Let's see if it's any better. So alright, so that's what he's looking like so far. Now see, this camera was focusing fantastically before. There he goes, he's a little bit better there. Show him to this camera. So, well, neither one of these cameras want to focus. So, the guy is about as good as, I'm going to put the time in on him. Let's clean my brush. So, I'm going to try to keep these videos short, about 30 minutes long. So, let us take us a different sculpt here. Here is a different sculpt of a goblin. So this is a different sculpt. So let's get us the contrast orc flesh again. And we're going to go straight from the contrast here. We're gonna paint it on this guy here with a smaller brush this time. So this is the contrast paints. I haven't been a fan in the past, but you know, I used them on my Age of Sigmar Deepkin models, and I wasn't happy with the results. So I wasn't happy with the way you had to prime them either. With a spray can, I was an airbrush primer back then. So I didn't like having to use the spray can. So I ended up spraying them like close to it, you know, Vallejo light gray or light ghost gray or whatever. And it didn't look right as a base coat. But I found that, you know, different base paints do work, and having a yellow base on these seems to be doing alright. And you know, when I'm doing the brown on the wolves, that light blue seems to be just fine. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how this one looks in the end here. This is a very interesting paint. The way it works, you know, could save lots of time painting. I mean, I painted all my work fatties, and I spent about a month in an easy chair painting those for a while. This was before I had a channel that I did. So I just painted them just for fun. would like to paint the new Dungeon Saga minis, and they're not as daunting as Zombicide. So I might, if this contrast works, I might try to, prime them white, or actually break down and get a bottle of that Wraith Bone, or whatever it's called, that you're supposed to prime with, and just spray them. So I ended up spraying these with some Army Painter, cheap Army Painter spray can paint, just because I needed a bunch of different colors, and I'm not supposed to be doing it, so my wife was nice enough to spray them for me. So I'm supposed to be using an airbrush, so can't even use like mineral spirits. So I guess acrylic, will be fine. Nobody said anything about that, so I'm going to continue with this. So he's got a lot of spots on him, but these guys seem a little bit better sculpted than the last one I did. It's like the flesh is well defined, and there is seam lines and things like that you could clean up, but when you have probably 75-80 of these, you just want to get them knocked out. That's why I opted for the contrast paint, to just get them done. So when I started with the Orc Fatties and some of the Orc Walkers, I was like, oh, it's not that bad, I get 10-15 done. 10-15 done a night, and then the Kickstarter came in with all the abominations, and I was like, oh, Abomination took me like 3 or 4 days to paint because it was so big and had so much detail on it. And I was like, I gotta paint all these abominations, and then there was gaps and things like that, so then I got overwhelmed on it, so I basically quit, moved on to painting some Warhammer stuff. And then, I started an AdMech army and saw how much there was to paint, and how much details on those models, and that burned me out. I ended up painting some Death Watch kill teams. Painted a couple different kill teams. That wasn't so bad. Just the 10 models, or 7 in the case of Death Watch. So that wasn't too bad, but anything with a lot of models gets me a little frustrated. Really, because I really don't care to paint. So, but mainly because I'm not good at it. I think if I was better at it, my hands didn't shake so bad, I would prefer to paint. I wouldn't mind painting so much. So there you go. He's green. So the guy's got his green on him. Alright, so we got that guy green. Let's check out how our wolf is doing. Then we put that. Okay, yeah, see, I put that Earth shade on him, and you can't even tell. I know the camera's not bright and the light's not great, but you can't even see it in reality. It's just, there's some dark spots, but I guess he just doesn't have the definition on him. So I'm going to go back to this way with the diluted contrast paint, because it gave me a better result. So that's how I'm going to handle that. Paint all those up with the diluted contrast paint. But let's take a look at some Dungeon Saga figures, how we might paint those. So this is a skeleton here. So what I want to do is, I'm filming this game, and there is a front arc on these and a rear arc, and I wanted to identify that from above, what arc is what. So I got a product somewhere. Here it is. I got this here, paint markers for best results, super writing distance, brightly colored, non-toxic, non-fading. So I got these marks on anything. It's oil based. Shake, air out, then pressing. So we're going to check these out on marking the front arcs of these miniatures. Let's turn it to a unboxing of these too. Look at that. Alright. So let's go here like that. So there's a lot of different colors in here. We got yellow, purple, black, green, gray. Wow, tons of colors here. So I'm going to use this blue here for the heroes, because the heroes are already a blue color. I'm going to shake it. Open it. So I got two heroes here. I got my Salamander Wrath and my Dwarf Guy. Open this up. Hopefully let the air out. Okay, let's see here. We're going to come in here like this. So this is his front arc here. Okay. It's definitely not what I was going for. So there we go. So I have the front arc marked. You can actually see that on camera. We will do this one too. Will he come off? No, he's not gonna come off. So his front arc is gonna be like so. This is a cool Salaman fighter. He's pretty good. Yeah, I like Dungeon Saga. It's using the Adventure Companion to play solo. There were some issues with that, but I'm working that out, and it's getting there. I'm making it more like there would be an Overlord player actually trying to destroy you. So there's that one with the front arc done there. Grab my other two I'm currently using. We got Maddie and the wizard here. probably paint these guys with this too. If you're careful and you like to use a pen. So there's that one done. I used to use these at work all the time. Marking different components and marking on a piece before you machined it to make sure you were honing it level, or you were surface finishing or something like that, surface grinding. You used to cover it in paint. Well, actually it was like a blue ink actually, so it wasn't quite like paint. Use paint pens too for different things, to mark different layouts or things like that had to be machined. So there we go. So I marked those arcs like that on my heroes, so now when I play the game you guys can see what my heroes, which way my heroes are facing. So that's that. And so throw a little Dungeon Saga into this one. It's supposed to be all Zombicide, but we did some Dungeon Saga. So that's the paint. That's the paint markers. And I'm going to touch him with a little bit of glue so that he doesn't come off again. It's right in there, so he won't pop off again. So there we go. So there we got the base green on our another one of our goblins. We discovered that non-oil is not the way to go on the wolves. We're going to stick with the snake bite leather contrast paint straight onto the main fur and tail, and then highly dilute it down for I think it was like 4:1 of the contrast medium to dilute it down to where I did the rest of the skin, and then we'll add a little bit of red paint to it. I like how I did the mouth and the eyes red. It made them real demon-like. Let's see if I can get that to focus in. Yeah, see how the red eyes, I know I'm not good with eyes, but you know, it's pretty cool. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. You can visit me at the social media sites where I post weird things at games and model stuff and all that good stuff. You can also visit me on Patreon to help support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.